No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve Postgame Show, presented by Play Now, the official sports betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets, starts now.
Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. And for all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to another edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Along with Ezra Ginsburg, I am your host, Drew Mandel, here to talk about something we've been talking a whole heck of a lot about over the last 6, 7, 8 weeks. That, of course, is another Winnipeg Jets defeat, this one at the hands of the league leading Colorado Avalanche. If you're a Silver Linings Playbook kind of guy, and I don't mean the movie in this instance.
Great film.
Yeah, great movie, but I didn't really mean the movie in this instance. But if you're a Silver Linings kind of person, a glass half full kind of person, you'd say, well, the Winnipeg Jets effort was better than it was on I guess that was out Monday night. Today's Friday, Wednesday night against the St. Louis Blues. But for a team that is in a heavy and significant free fall, moral victories just aren't good enough, Mr. Ginsburg. The only thing that can matter to this Winnipeg Jets team is points in the bank. And they failed to register any of those with tonight's 3-2 defeat in regulation to the Colorado Avalanche. Nice to see you on what has certainly been a very snowy Thursday and Friday, I suppose, in our fair city of Winnipeg.
Absolutely. That was quite the blizzard yesterday. Obviously, highways were closed, schools were closed. It was not fun. To be on the road. It wasn't fun to be on the road today either.
No, it was not.
But especially yesterday. Hopefully most people stayed safe. But yes, that was a Alberta Clipper that came through Manitoba.
2 in a row, I believe. Back-to-back Alberta Clippers.
We usually get the Colorado lows, which is appropriate considering the Jets played the Avalanche. But yes, we're getting some snowy stuff from Alberta. But I mean, at the end of the day, Drew, it's the end of December in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Like, what do you expect? Like, we got one of the nicest Novembers on record. Like, it's always miserable this time of year. There's always lots of snow. It's always minus 30. So, I mean, it's great hockey weather. Let's put it at that.
There you go.
But, you mentioned, the Jets, lose another game. This was a perfect game to get at least a point. And again, the Jets failed to register a point. And, we'll talk about it. Like, you like to see that, the Jets erased a couple of deficits and they got within a goal. But
they didn't quite erase them. That's the problem. They got close to erasing them.
Yeah, well, I meant like, the 2-goal deficit. And they made it a 1-goal game, right? And, you like to see Mark Scheifele score on the power play. And the penalty kill was perfect tonight. Morgan Barron scores a beautiful goal. But make no mistake about this, Drew. I mean, Connor Hellebuyck was the only reason this was a 1-goal game. I mean, you go back to the first period. I remember Arturi Lekkinen had the amazing chance. Brock Nelson, Connor Hellebuyck robbed Brock Nelson in the second period in tight. The Avalanche had no shortage of scoring chances in this game. So, yes, it was a 1-goal game on the score sheet. But I thought for big chunks of this game, the Jets were outclassed. And let's just, pause for a second. The fact that the Avalanche have 32 out of 34 games they have points is actually absurd. Like, if you just think about that for a second,
that's 1970s Montreal Canadiens-esque kind of.
Yeah, like it's just crazy. And you watch the Avalanche play tonight, and that wasn't their A+ game, but led by Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar. I mean, there's just so much talent up and down the lineup. Scott Wedgwood is such an incredible story. Just the fact that he's on Team Canada's radar for the Olympics in the first place is absolutely crazy, considering he's, I guess, I don't know if we still call him the backup, but at least to start the season, he was the backup. Now he's outplayed Mackenzie Blackwood, right? So Wedgwood's been an incredible story. And, for the most part, I thought that the Jets neutralized McKinnon and Natchez and some of the other stars. But, like, again, turnovers, way too many turnovers. And it took the Jets too long to get going. It took the Jets until the second period to really start playing their game.
Which is an ongoing issue for this team, is that they don't show up when the puck is dropped. And so to your point, Ezzy, about Connor Hellebuck, and you're absolutely right, because if it wasn't for Connor Hellebuck, I mean, look, the final score is 3-2. The final score, okay, close game, good effort, got close, But anybody who watched this game realizes that if it wasn't for Connor Hellebuck in the first 20 plus minutes of this game, even longer than that, what's the score? 4-0? 5-0. It's 2-0 for the Avs after 20 minutes, but that's about as as close a game as it could have possibly been if it wasn't for
flattered the Jets for sure, Drew.
Of course it did. If it wasn't for Connor Hellebuck and his incredible performance, something we've been saying for, of course, years at this point in time, this game is out of hand. I mean, I just don't understand how the Jets continually start games they just don't start games on time. And it's been a pattern all season long. And it's something that they don't seem to have an answer for. Scott Arniel has paid lip service to it. He says, I need to be better. The players have said, we need to be better. Everybody says the right thing, but then you go out and you start the game and you're completely outclassed. And it's one thing being outclassed by the Colorado Avalanche. Well, the Avalanche, to your point, as they are outclassing the entire league. So that's not a surprise in and of itself that you're outclassed by the Colorado Avalanche.
And that's with the 25th ranked power play in the NHL.
Wow. Can you imagine if it was top 10 or something? And should be
even if it was like 15th, it's 25th.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. It really is. Like this Avalanche team, and that's the thing. Right now, where the Jets are at, I mean, they're not catching the Avalanche. They're not catching the Stars. They're not catching the Wild. If you manage to limp into the playoffs in a wild card spot, who are you going to play? You're going to play the Avalanche, right? So I mean, it's just the Jets just can't match. They just can't. They can't match up with the Avalanche. Like Scheifele, Velarde, Connor, I thought were really good. They had lots of good looks. We talked about Scheifele's power play goal. I mean, they were out there trying their best. I mean, it was a pretty pathetic last couple minutes. The Jets, there was that scrum in the
30
Avalanche.
seconds where they just couldn't, you're just losing puck battles when you have to find a way to be desperate to win those puck battles.
Right. And I didn't think by the way, we can talk all we want about the Jets making this a 1-goal game. If this was the most desperate effort that the Jets have, then we're all in trouble. And obviously, there's still enough time for the Jets. Yeah, well, the Jets are in trouble. Good point, Drew. Yeah. But I mean, there's still enough season left that you can scramble, so you kind of get something together and still get into the playoffs. But we're getting close to the halfway mark of the season here, and the Jets continue to fail to pick up points. So yeah, what are they, 4 points back, I believe, of a wild card?
I haven't even looked. I'll be honest, I haven't looked at the playoff race as of yet, because until they start stringing some wins together, there's no point in even looking at it.
Right.
What's the point in looking to see how close you are to the playoff spot if all you do is lose? Sorry, Little John, no one's here is all you're doing is winning. All you're doing is losing.
Pardon me. Sorry, I just called you Jets. Drew, the Jets are 5 points back of the San Jose Sharks right now for the last wild card spot. Well, 5 points.
So what's the point of looking at it right now until you start stringing some wins together? This is a desperate road trip you're on. You're a 3-game road trip before you go on the Christmas break, right? You go to St. Louis, which should have been the easiest of the 3 games, and you embarrass yourselves in St. Louis. You go to Colorado, a tough game. You don't embarrass yourselves based on the score. You probably embarrass yourselves based on the way the game starts and the way that you hang your goaltender out to dry, as per usual. So now a desperate team, a desperate franchise, 3-game road trip to end the pre-Christmas portion of the schedule, and you've lost the first 2 games, and you've lost 1-goal games in regulation against a very good team and once against a very poor team. So the playoffs aren't even worth discussing from the Winnipeg Jets perspective until you start to win some games, until you start to win, 6 out of 10 games, 4 out of 5, get some points, string some points together. Otherwise, there's no playoff race here. It's just a race to the bottom until you start to actually do something and contribute and do something to generate hope for your team and the expectation that you're a playoff team. Because right now, anybody who's watching this team and being truthful with themselves and honest with themselves, this is not a playoff caliber hockey team the way they've been playing for the last 6 weeks.
No, they're absolutely not. And on paper, you still can say that, yeah, this team has it in them to come back and get into a wild card spot. But certainly the way they're playing and they're failing to pick up points in crucial games. And,
Mm-hmm.
One thing, Drew, we obviously have to talk about is Cole Perfetti getting bumped down from the second line, or whatever you want to call it, third line, second line. He was bumped down to the fourth line. Gus Nyquist was bumped up.
And then benched. And then benched.
Yes,
I mean, benched for the entirety of he played 9 seconds in the third period after he took that penalty late in the second. The penalty expired. He got back on the ice.
It was a tripping penalty.
Yeah, it was a tripping penalty. Got back on the ice, played for 9 seconds and then sat on the bench for the rest of the period. And by the way, that's a well-deserved, well-earned benching by Cole Perfetti. And you could see the frustration.
I think it's the first time he's been benched this year, unless I'm mistaken.
I think it's the first time he's been benched in his career. It's probably the first time he's been benched at any level of hockey, since he started playing, to be perfectly honest.
I don't think he was benched a lot when he was playing for Saginaw in the OHL. Drew.
I don't think he was, but I mean, the first goal that the Avalanche score, or pardon me, the second goal the Avalanche score, the 2-on-1 goal, he's the trailer. Yes. He's Marty Nakash is the guy who blows past Cole Perfetti. Is it Perfetti's fault that puck goes in the net? There's a lot of mistakes on that goal, but Perfetti is certainly exposed for his lack of foot speed on that one. Then he takes that tripping penalty. I mean, Cole Perfetti has earned this benching by simply not being good enough this year. By being not even good, being good enough, because that implies that good enough implies that he's been good at any point in time. He's been bad all season since he came back from injury, and so he deserves to sit on the bench. I don't have any problem,
especially considering that not only, like you said, on the second goal, he's just not quick enough getting back, but it's the fact that he takes the tripping penalty that in the offensive zone that absolutely just gets under the skin of Scott Arniel. It was the Natchez goal, the second goal. Just needed to check there. But you're right. And that's something, obviously, Drew, we can get into, more on tomorrow morning show, the Saturday show.
Yeah.
But like
Kenny Wiebe is going to join us tomorrow on the Saturday morning show. So that there's going to be a very lengthy trip to the buffet. I wouldn't be surprised if Kenny's not already in the studio for tomorrow morning show. He's going to be so eager to talk about it for about 45 minutes or so. So Kenny's going to join us tomorrow, so you can look forward to that.
It's going to be a full plate, Drew. Like you said, there's going to be 4 or 5 trips to the buffet tomorrow. Yeah. And so we'll talk to Kenny about Cole Perfetti, but going back to what you said before, Drew, this was a critical 3-game road trip before the Christmas break, all against Central Division opponents. Yeah. So obviously you're not chasing the Colorado Avalanche because they're so far ahead. There's absolutely no chance you're catching them. But when you talk about Utah, I mean, you gotta pick up a couple points on Sunday. It's already been a disappointing road trip. I mean, you're not going to win 1 of 3 games and you're going to call that a successful road trip. But the fact that these games are so critical, and this is the type of performance you're getting from a guy like Cole Perfetti, is really concerning. And it's quite possible that there are lingering effects from his ankle injury. That's fine, but then he should not be playing.
Exactly right.
Right? Like, what are we talking about here? What's he been back 20 games now?
I mean, I would think
something like that,
close to that number. I mean, it's been long enough that if you're in the lineup, there's an expectation that you perform. There's an expectation that you perform if you're in the lineup and you've recovered enough from your injury that you're an active member of the Winnipeg Jets top 6. At least he was at the start of the game. There's an expectation on you. If you are still injured to the point that you cannot contribute, then the Jets need to make that determination and then need to sit him. And if it's, I'm never going to question a player if they say they're injured. If a player says that he's injured and as a result he is not healthy enough to perform, I'm going to take that player on face value for that being an accurate statement, because all these players want to play. They don't want to play. They don't want to be injured. They don't want to be out of the lineup if they can be in the lineup in any way, shape, or form. But he's in the lineup, which means he needs to be able to perform. And if so you can't have it both ways. You can't have it say, well, the reason he's not performing is because he's still too injured. Well, then he shouldn't be in the lineup, to your point, Ezzy.
And you also, Drew, by the way, can't say, well, even if he's at 50 to 75%, you take him out of the lineup or he can't take himself out of the lineup, why not? Connor Hellebuck decided to have knee surgery, 20 to 25 games into the season. So
because he was injured.
Because he was injured. Exactly. So if Cole Perfetti actually is that injured, that's the main reason why he's playing. And by the way, we're just speculating. We don't know, Drew.
Absolutely. We don't know.
And we would never get anything from the Jets. Nobody from the Jets, even Mike McIntyre and Ken Wiebe are not getting that scoop. Like nobody's going to say, yeah, Perfetti's he's only playing at 50% health. I mean, nobody's ever going to say that.
Right.
But 2 goals in 20 games. And Cole Perfetti's in a contract year this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a guy who he's playing for his big contract.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he's playing, I don't even is he even going to get more than 2 or 3 years? I don't know how you give Perfetti more than 2 or 3 years the way he's played 20 games into the season, because it's been such a regression. And by the way, I'm a big fan of Perfetti. Like, so I'm not.
Well, we all expect.
I'm not coming down on Perfetti here. I'm just saying that he is not playing well. And whatever stat you want to look at, whether it's points, whether it's ice time, which obviously he was benched for the 3rd period tonight, demoted to the 4th line. I mean, this is a big problem here, because not only are you failing to get a lot of offense from basically your 3 bottom lines, if Cole Perfetti's not going, and then again, who's your driver here of the second line? And that goes back to the Jets' need for a second line center, because right now, as this team is constructed, like, yeah, okay, great. Morgan Barron scores a shorthanded goal. That's great. But
they didn't score at 5-on-5 again. I mean, it's bizarre. They didn't score at 5-on-5 again.
Right. 2 games in a row, Drew. Two critical games against Central Division opponents where you need points, and they had 0 even strength goals.
They haven't had a forward score an even strength goal since I think at some point during the Ottawa game, right? Because Logan Stanley scored in the Ottawa game. He had the second goal for the Jets, and I'm trying to remember who had the first one. I think it was Pionk, wasn't it? So, I mean, has it been 3 straight games now that it's going back to the Washington game that the Jets have not had a forward score a 5-on-5 goal? 3 straight games that you haven't had a 5-on-5 goal from a forward. I know I just repeated myself, folks, but let that sink in, if you will. I don't say it for a 3rd time. 3 straight games that you have not had a forward score a 5-on-5 goal. And so if you wonder why this team is struggling to the effect that they are, well, there's a pretty damning stat, if I've ever heard of one, right there. They just can't score.
No, it's a huge problem. And again, it goes back to, if it's not going to be addressed by calling guys up from the Manitoba Moose, then Kevin Cheveldayoff has got to pull the trigger on a move. And I'm not expecting him to make any trades before the Christmas break, but
there have been 2 trades tonight. I don't know if you saw the most recent one. I'll just update the audience. So Philip Deneau was traded from the Los Angeles Kings to the Montreal Canadiens.
Nice.
That was in exchange for a 2nd-round pick.
Those who don't know, by the way, Deneau started his career in Montreal.
Montreal, of course. Yeah. And then just about 2 minutes ago, maybe 4 minutes ago, the Columbus Blue Jackets have acquired Mason Marchment from the Seattle Kraken in exchange for a 2027 2nd-round pick and a 2026 4th-round pick.
Really?
So there's 2 trades tonight. A 2nd-round pick to LA for Philip Deneau and a 2nd and a 4th to Seattle for Mason Marchment. The reason why there are trades happening tonight is because any player traded tonight is eligible for double retention of salary on trade deadline day. Anybody traded after tonight can only have their salary retained by one team when the trade deadline comes in, I guess, whatever month that's going to be. I guess it's probably March or whatever the hell the trade deadline is this year, maybe late February. So that's why there's I'm going to say a flurry of trades, but it's only been 2. But that's why people thought there might be some trades tonight, because of this, convoluted double retention rule. A player has to be on a team for 75 days in order to be double retained salary cap wise. And 75 days from today is the NHL trade deadline.
Good on you for bringing that up, Drew, because if you think about it, these are both guys, like Danault's older than Marchment. Marchment, by the way, the fact that the Blue Jackets were able to pick him up and not give up any roster player is impressive. Philip Danault obviously helps Montreal. That's been the big issue. Well, one of the issues in Montreal, in addition to some of the goaltending issues they've been having, is up the middle, right? So I don't know if he slots in as the 2C, but he's definitely going to be either the second line center or the third line center. Danault for years was the second line center. Obviously, Nick Suzuki is your number one center there in Montreal. But it's a good point that you make, because Columbus by no means is guaranteed a playoff spot. And so Mason Marchment would be a guy that potentially, if they happen to be sellers prior to the trade deadline, there could be a double retention situation. So it's a good point that you make. And, I know Marchment was linked to the Jets. I believe it was Elliot Friedman in 32 Thoughts mentioned that. And, some Jets fans were getting excited. But, I mean, we're at that point where you have to ask some tough questions here. And, again, we're going to break down the goals in the Play Now game recap. This is more of a Saturday morning topic with Kenny Wee. But you have to start asking some hard questions, Drew, like starting off with, like, what is this team right now?
Oh,
is this
old and slow?
is this best case scenario? I think everyone agrees this is a wild card team, right? Best case. That's best case. We've gone from Stanley Cup contender to best case scenario, you're a wild card team. And yes, you could get into the playoffs, just so everybody knows, just so I'm being well-rounded here. Teams can get into the playoffs in the 8th seed and win the Stanley Cup. We've seen it before. Los Angeles Kings 2012 did it, right? Like it's not like this can't happen. Or St. Louis Blues 2019. Were they not an 8th seed when they did that? I believe they were an 8th seed, right?
They were dead last in the NHL at Christmas, and then they went on that run.
Right. So that happens, but that happens once every 5 to 7 years, right? So right now we're at the point where you're basically hoping that you get into the playoffs in a wild card spot. By the way, you're going to have to play over 600 hockey to do that. Where the Jets are at right now, they're a couple games under 500. They're going to have to play significantly above 600. Mike McIntyre had it in his article. It's something around, they're going to have to win like 63% of their games or something like that, which is not an easy task. Like, you look at teams in the NHL, I think there's only half a dozen teams that are above 630 in terms of their points percentage, right? Mm-hmm. But the point is, you have to start asking these questions like, what's the rest of the season going to look like here? Because like we said, we're getting closer and closer to the halfway mark of the season. And you have to start to say, like, are you going to just try to do the best with the current players you have? Are you going to call up some younger players for the Moose?
The general manager has already told us that trades are hard to make, and the answers have to come from within. I mean, if we take him at his word, he's basically said that he's not going to do anything about the current struggles. I mean, now that admittedly that was maybe 2 weeks ago now, 3 weeks ago, maybe his tune has changed, but this is not a general manager who has a track record of being particularly proactive when it comes to the struggles of his team. I mean, when he makes moves, he usually makes those moves not in December, not in January, closer to February or March, and those are usually when he's got good teams. His track record does not scream of being particularly proactive in trying to shake things up. So, all we can do is take him at his word when he says the answers have to come from within.
I think if you don't shake your team up at this point, Drew, then we're just going to have exactly what we've had 34 games into the season. I don't see anything changing.
We could probably I would agree. We could probably just start replaying the same post-game show and just change the name of the team that we're talking about as the Jets' opponent.
I just don't know how you have, since early November, the Jets have the worst record in the entire league. 32 teams in the NHL, and they have the worst record. I'll repeat myself. Since early November, they have the worst record in the entire league. Nobody else has a worse record. Why wouldn't you shake things up? I don't understand why you would keep trotting out Jonathan Taves and keep trotting out Tanner Pearson and Gus Nyquist. Yes, Gus Nyquist got a nice assist on Scheifele's power play goal, but let's be honest here. We're 34 games into the season. Nyquist doesn't have a goal yet. And he's making $3 million a year. I mean, come on. It's time for Chevy to do something here.
No argument at all from me whatsoever. It's time for us to do something, and that's head into the Play Now game recap.
the Play Now game recap.
Big thanks to our friends at Play Now for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Don't bet on illegal sites. Bet with Play Now instead. Manitoba's local, legal, and secure gambling site. 18 plus. You best be enjoying Play Now responsibly. That's from me to you. If you're not doing it responsibly, we don't want to hear about it. Another quick note on the not the out-of-town scoreboard, but the out-of-town injury list. This one's going to hurt Team Canada. Seth Jarvis.
No.
He goes out for the Carolina Hurricanes tonight. The quote from Rod Brindamore post-game, it's not good. He's going to be out for a while. So Seth Jarvis, I think he went hard into the boards late in the game in overtime against, I'm not even sure who they played tonight, against the Panthers, if I'm not mistaken. And so Seth Jarvis is going to be out of the Carolina Hurricanes lineup for a while. Time will tell what that has to do with how that impacts Team Canada, and of course, the upcoming Olympics, assuming the Olympics and the NHL players still go. But real bad news for Seth Jarvis and the Carolina Hurricanes, that he's going to be out.
To see that. You absolutely hate to see that.
No question about it. You do hate to see it. We're going to bring you some interesting comments from Scott Arneal a little bit later on in the post-game show as well, because he had some interesting things to say to our buddy Mike McIntyre post-game tonight. One about Cole Perfetti, one about the team in general. But we start the Play Now game recap looking at that first period, and it was a first period again where the Winnipeg Jets just didn't start on time. No, if it wasn't for Connor Hellebuyck, the Jets are they're down by way more than 2 goals after 20 minutes. As it is a 2-0 Colorado lead after 20 minutes. The first goal of the period goes to Brent Burns, his 5th of the season, assist to Josh Manson and Yoel Kiviranta. Is he Yoel or is he back to Joel? I'm not even sure.
I think it's Yoel. I think Armia's back to Joel.
Right.
But I think Kiviranta is still Yoel.
Yeah,
at least that's what Dan Robertson was calling him. So,
and I'll defer to Dan because he's a pro, and Lord knows, this is amateur hour at the Apollo here. So I'll defer to whatever Dan says. The 9:45 mark of the first period, and it's a fortuitous bounce, no question about that. It's a shot from Burns off to the point. He's trying to hit. Who's he trying to hit? Jack Drury, I think, in front, if I'm not mistaken. With the
Drury,
he's trying to hit Drury with a redirection or for a tip in the high slot. Instead, it goes off of the skate of Hayden Fleury, and it redirects past Connor Hellebuyck. This is Connor Hellebuyck, who had stood on his head through the first 10 minutes of the game, making a multitude of grade A saves, and of course, it's a fluky one that gets past him. But this is what happens. Eventually, they're going to get a good bounce. Eventually, if you're not playing the game the right way, and the Jets aren't, good things are going to happen for the opponent. Colorado's playing the right way. The Jets aren't. And as a result, they get on the board early, 1-0 for the Avs 10 minutes into the period.
Yeah, it was the Niederreiter line that was out there. And like you said, it's Brent Burns putting the puck on net, trying to get a rebound. And I just thought on this particular play, the Jets were just kind of a little bit stagnant in their own zone. And Colorado was moving the...
Sorry, you go back and you look at Niederreiter here, and it looks like he's got an opportunity to make a play on the puck.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a loose puck, but he just is. He looks indecisive. He looks that he's unsure about what he should do. And as a result, Colorado keeps possession on this one. And then it ultimately ends up in the back of the net. But I just didn't like Niederreiter's read on this play.
Yeah, no, fair enough. He definitely had an opportunity to jump on that loose puck and get it out. And to be honest with you, and we'll maybe get into, the Stanley Hayden Fleury pairing, because that was Hayden Fleury's first game since I think November 11th or November 12th on the offside. I actually didn't think he was bad. He's definitely not the reason. That pair was not the reason why the Jets lost the game tonight. But Fleury's right there, like we talked about. It was either Jack Drury or Parker Kelly, and Fleury's right there with him. So Fleury's doing his job, and then Stanley had whoever it wasn't Parker Kelly or Jack Drury. Those were the 2 fourth-line guys that were out there for the Avalanche. Yeah. And so both guys are covered up. And so it's not like there's missed coverage or anything like that. It's just the Jets were a little bit, I thought, reactionary and just a little bit slow, a little bit scrambly in their own zone. And like you said, it's a lucky bounce. And as you mentioned, this goal was around the midway mark of the first period. We talked about Arturi Lehkonen had a really good chance. If you remember, there was a nifty passing sequence, and Lehkonen had a chance. And then you just mentioned Joel Kiviranta, who's the other guy on the fourth line. He had a good scoring chance prior to this. So the Avalanche definitely had the pressure on the Jets. And so this is a goal where, if you spend enough time in your own zone, and the Avalanche are the type of team, we know they have guys that go to the net. They like to do those low to high plays.
Mm-hmm.
And, Brent Burns, by the way, the fact that he's doing what he's doing at 40 years old, he's got 20 points on the season now, or 19 points on the season.
When they signed him, everybody thought, why are you signing him? He looked washed. He looked done. And he's been, he's found a very good, first of all, everybody on that Colorado Avalanche team has looked great, but I mean, and it's a good position for him to be in, but he's been a very
third signing. It's not, you're not asking Brent Burns to play like huge minutes for you. You're asking him to play 12 minutes, 14 minutes a game, and
soft minutes.
He's chasing a Stanley Cup. He doesn't have a Stanley Cup. I almost made the mistake there of saying he has a Stanley Cup. No, he does not have a Stanley Cup. But yeah, just wanted to get that in there. He's always, Drew, that he's always been one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
And so
you model your beard after his. So I mean,
exactly.
That's what you're looking for there. 1-0 for the Avs at this point, about halfway through. It takes him about another 5 minutes or so to make it 2-0. This is Marty Nakash, his 15th of the year, assist to McKinnon and Lehkonen. I don't like the read by Hayden Fleury here. The Jets are in a good position. This
one was, like you said, Drew, this one's a misread.
This is a misread. So the Jets have offensive zone time. It's Perfetti, it's Nemesnikov, it's Niederreiter, and then the D pairing is Stanley and Hayden Fleury. Stanley gets the puck back at the point and he shoots it wide. It's a shot from the point, and it just goes off the end boards. And Hayden Fleury, rather than back off, decides to pinch in here. He's trying to pinch up on Artturi Lehkonen. It's an easy pass by Lehkonen to move it up to Nathan McKinnon, and all of a sudden it's a 2-on-1. Cole Perfetti and Marty Nakash are they stride for stride?
Yes.
Maybe Nakash has an eighth of a stride head start over Cole Perfetti, but Cole Perfetti has to find a way to not make Nakash get past him as easily as he does. Nathan McKinnon with a nice pass over to Nakash, who comes in on the 2-on-1. Now he's all alone, and he beats Connor Hellebuyck. And you saw after the play ended, I'm sure you saw it, we all saw it on the broadcast, Cole Perfetti slammed his stick in anger, knowing that he just didn't do his job in slowing down Marty Nakash in this play. So not a great read by Hayden Fleury, and definitely, not a good play by Cole Perfetti in return.
Yeah, and you mentioned it all starts off with Stanley missing the net, and then Hayden Fleury, who we mentioned, is playing on the right side. And what he does is the puck comes around, and it's Artturi Lehkonen there, and he pinches. So now he's caught deep, and like you said, now Cole Perfetti's got a cover for Hayden Fleury, and he was stride for stride with him. Like he's right there with Natchez. And I think you would give Natchez the advantage in terms of straight line speed. You're going to give Natchez the advantage there. But like you said, Drew, the thing that stands out to me is do something to slow him down then.
Something.
Right? Like he doesn't get a stick on there or anything.
Yeah.
He doesn't. So that would be a great opportunity to take a penalty, to be honest with you. Like
if you have to in that case,
to do something. Do something. And don't get me wrong, Nathan McKinnon, it's a beautiful pass by one of the best players in the league. It is a world-class pass by a world-class player. But again, these are the things that get you stapled to the bench, like Perfetti was stapled to the bench in the third period for plays like that, where, just give an extra 10 or 15% effort there.
Yeah. Find a way.
And then maybe slash him, hook him, get him, tie him up a little bit. Don't just coast from your own blue line in, and then at the last second kind of swat at him. And so I think Perfetti, it's obvious, like you said, he smashes his stick on the boards because he knows he should have done more to prevent that goal. And again, I'm a big fan of Cole Perfetti. I want to make this clear. I don't like having to, pick on Cole Perfetti or point out the mistakes that he's making, but they're egregious and they're costing the Jets goals, and he's not playing well enough. And I think he knows that. He's got to be better. He just he has to be better, because when you're talking about, who stirs the Jets drink, yes, it's Scheifele, it's Morrissey, it's Connor and Hellebuyck and Velarde.
They thought it was going to be Perfetti this year.
Perfetti's part of that. I mean, again, like we talked about, he's in a
they
contract
hoped he was going to be.
Yeah, this is a 10th overall pick. Like, the Jets have invested a lot in Cole Perfetti. So on this play, the first play was kind of a fluky bounce on the Brent Burns goal. This is a goal where it's a bad pinch, and Cole Perfetti's just got to be harder on the back check to do something to disrupt that goal so Nate just doesn't get a clean stick on it.
2-0 for the Avs after 20 minutes. It looked, for all intents and purposes, like it was going to be 2-0, maybe even 3-0 for the Avs after 40 minutes. The Jets take that late second period penalty. They take a multitude of penalties, by the way, in the second period. Scheifele for holding Nathan McKinnon early. Then they take the bench minor. Then Cole Perfetti takes that tripping penalty we talked about, where he trips Cale Makar. And the Avs is power play, as you said, as it's struggling this year, but you never want to give them that many opportunities. Lo and behold, though, Morgan Barron with a shorthanded goal with 38 seconds to go in the second period. Talk about giving the Jets a much needed boost, giving them some life. It's a real nice play by Morgan Barron. Alex Iafallo just sort of dumps the puck out. It's there's nothing fancy what Alex Iafallo does, and then Morgan Barron just gets on his horse and he picks up the puck and he cuts in front and backhands it past Scott Wedgwood. It's just a great play by Morgan Barron. It's the kind of play that everybody wants to know why it's the kind of play you see from him, and then you want to know why he isn't getting more of an opportunity to be higher up in the Winnipeg Jets lineup with a play like that.
I agree with you 100%. And by the way, I was obviously listening to you, but also following the chat. What is going on in Anaheim? It's 9-2 Dallas right now, Drew.
Really? I missed that entire 9-2.
Speaking of 1980s types of scores, 9-2 for Dallas. So obviously it's not a good night on the out-of-town scoreboard for the Jets either. I think Anaheim's
more of a threat to them than Dallas is. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say not that the Jets are going to be.
Holy moly.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Obviously, people that have Jason Robertson and Rupe Hintz in their hockey pool are having a good night.
I think the only solution for the Ducks losing 9-2 is that they have to trade Jackson Lacombe to the Jets. I think that's the only solution. That you have to make that trade immediately. I'm going to call it in on behalf of the Anaheim Ducks. Get Jackson Lacombe out of there. He's obviously just you got to get him out of Anaheim if you're giving up 9.
Pry him out of Pat Verbeek's cold dead hands, Drew. That's not happening. Lacombe is.
I know.
Is he going to be on USA for the Olympics? I hope he is. He's a good player.
I don't know if they're talking about him quite there.
Though,
yeah.
But
he's a hell of a young player, is what he is.
Sign me up for Jackson Lacombe on the Jets. That's for sure. Good Minnesota boy.
But Morgan Barron's goal here, I mean, again, you see the speed, something that this team doesn't have. We've documented that many times over. You see the give a damn factor. I don't think anybody ever thinks that Morgan Barron's cheating or shift or two in the game. He's always there with a solid effort. Given everything else you have on this team and all the problems, I just don't see why he doesn't get a more significant opportunity higher up in the lineup.
I would agree with that. And sorry, I got sidetracked by the 9-2 score, Drew. But yeah, this is a beautiful goal. And like you said, the Avalanche get that late power play. So you're thinking, okay, like they could go up 3-0 here. And if they go up 3-0, then basically the game is over. Yeah. And so what happens is it's Hellebuck makes a nice save on, I think it was Brock Nelson, but it's smart by Alex Iafallo, the way how hard he clears the puck off the glass. Like he knows he has to get that far for Morgan Barron to be in a chase situation. So we got to give Alex Iafallo credit for shooting that puck and getting Barron in a position. But I mean, this is Cale Makar who he beats out here.
That's who he's chasing. It's not some sort of slug. It's not some sort of slow veteran player. It's Cale Makar. He's going to win the Norris, I think, already this year.
He could win the Hart Trophy. Drew, to be honest with you.
He could. You're not wrong. I mean, that's the point, Ezzy. You're desperate for any good feelings. You're desperate for any sort of secondary offense. You've seen what everybody else can contribute, which is nothing. I mean, we've talked about it for weeks now about when the last time Vlad Nemesnikov scored or Nino Niederreiter did anything of any significance. Why not give Morgan Barron a chance to get more ice time?
I mean,
these are rhetorical questions at this point.
No, they're absolutely good questions though, and I've said I prefer Morgan Barron up the middle. Like do we see that at some point? Do we see Barron maybe with Perfetti and I don't know, Niederreiter, Barron, Perfetti? I'm just throwing things out there. But the point is that Morgan Barron has shown time and time again that he's more than just a fourth line player. That's what we're saying here. And so does that necessarily mean that he's going to be the next second line center for the Jets? No, of course it doesn't mean that. But what we're saying is give him the ice time because he's earning it. Like we all agree that, hockey should work on merit, right? You play well, you get more ice time. You don't play well, Cole Perfetti, he gets benched in the third period. But yeah, this is just an absolutely beautiful goal. So yes, at the end of the day, the Jets don't end up winning this game, but we're all going to remember that Morgan Barron goal because that was just an incredible individual effort.
No question about it. I'm not sure what's happening in Anaheim, to your point, Ezzy, but they took the goal, the ninth goal they took off the board from Dallas. Okay. So it's only 8-2 now.
Okay.
So,
cue the comeback.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, my Jackson Lacombe trade just got snuffed. It just got snuffed as a result. Anyways, 2-1 at that point in time, 2-1 after 40 minutes. The Jets have a little bit of life. They got a little bit of maybe hope entering the third period. And then Colorado scores 2 minutes into the third period. Connor Hellebuyck probably wants this one back. There's a lot of traffic in front of him, but it's not a goal that you usually see Connor Hellebuyck give up. Parker Kelly gets his 7th of the year, assist to Josh Manson, assist to Val Nichushkin as well on this one. And, the traffic is there in front. The Jets fail to get the puck in deep. It's a turnover at the offensive blue line. Now it's with Connor and Velarde and Scheifele, and Josh Manson is there to, he's the trailer on the play. He comes in, he takes the shot after Nichushkin gives him the pass, and Parker Kelly is right in front. And Parker Kelly's not doing anything fancy. He's doing exactly what you would expect a player like Parker Kelly to do, which is go hard to the net, be a nuisance in front of Connor Hellebuyck. I mean, you look at it, there's 2 Avs players in front of Hellebuyck and DeMello. I mean, I'm not sure how this happens in that instance, but you're looking at it. There's Parker Kelly, there's Jack Drury. They're both right there with Dylan DeMello, and there's only one Jets player there. I mean, it's just, again, bad D-zone coverage, bad job not getting the puck in deep at the offensive blue line, and it ends up in the back of the net, and it's 3-1, and you're back to chasing down 2 goals with less than 20 minutes to play.
Sorry, Drew, I'm not sure if I was muted there. You could hear me coughing. I'm trying to...
Only on the first time. The second time I couldn't hear. The second time you muted.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm trying to... As anybody who listens to shows knows, Drew and I have both been battling a cold the last couple of weeks, so bear with us here. But yeah, you're wondering, Drew, why Jack Drury and Parker Kelly are both in front of the net. The thing that stood out to me on this goal is Valeri Nichushkin, first off, comes in with some really good speed, and he backs off Josh Morrissey. But also Kyle Connor's there. He's the left winger, obviously, on that line. He also goes to Valeri Nichushkin. And what ends up happening is now you have 2 players. So that's why there's 2 Avalanche players in front of the net, because there's 2 Jets players that went to Nichushkin.
Bad
right?
Read.
And
bad D-zone coverage.
Yeah, it's so again, like that's all it takes. Like we break down these goals after every Jets game, and like that's all it takes is you just make one wrong decision there, and then now all of a sudden it's in the back of your net, right? And so it's definitely a goal that Connor Hellebuyck would like to come back. It was a little bit ugly, right? Like originally when I saw that goal, I was like, did this go straight in? Because if Josh Manson if that puck goes straight in, then that was really soft. But obviously Parker Kelly, gets the stick on it. But yeah, it's just, it's not very tight defensive coverage. And like, it's easy for me to sit here and say that. But it's just like, again, when you're playing a team like the Avalanche, who are the best team in the league, who have just weapons galore on their team, you have to play your system to a T. It has to be a tight defensive system. And like, again, I don't know how many teams in the NHL can play a tight defensive system against the Avalanche. Like I said, it's easier said than done, but that's the difference in the game. That goal was the difference in the game. Obviously, Scheifele, we're going to get into his goal. That made it a 1-goal game. But, you go down, the Avalanche are the type of team that really all they need is 3 goals. They're that good of a defensive team. They have the puck so much that, that was a killer goal. So, it's kind of the same old. Jets don't get enough secondary scoring, and they're just, a couple of defensive mistakes lead to goals.
You're absolutely right. The Jets, again, they get back to within one goal of the Avalanche. It takes 1:40 later. Devon Taves is in the penalty box for hooking Gabe Vilardi, preventing Vilardi from maybe getting to a loose puck and having a scoring chance. It takes the Jets all of 6 seconds, though, to score on the power play. So, pardon me, it ends up being 7 seconds. And accuracy is important here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. It's a nice play. Gus Nyquist, credit to him. Scheifele wins the face-off, and the puck it goes actually over to Morrissey, then back to Connor, and then Nyquist is next to gets the puck. Nyquist is on the power play here, which is an unusual spot with him on the first power play unit. It's because Cole Perfetti's benched. That's the only reason Gus Nyquist is on the ice here, is that Cole Perfetti has been benched by Scott Arniel for the third period. Nyquist gets the puck and he finds Mark Scheifele alone for a tap in. It's a real nice pass. It's a nice redirection by Scheifele, but you see some good vision by Gus Nyquist here. Obviously, he's still looking for a goal. This is only his 7th point of the year. All of them have been assists, but credit where credit is due to Gus Nyquist here and to Mark Scheifele for making his stick available for Nyquist and for Nyquist putting the puck right on Scheifele's stick properly to make it a 3-2 lead for the Avs with about 17 minutes to go in this third period.
Yeah, and obviously it starts, as you mentioned, Drew, it starts off with a clean face-off win by Scheifele, and the puck ends up coming back to Morrissey, then it goes to Connor. Good on Connor, who there's some pressure there from Jack Drury, and he evades it and does a nice job of getting that puck back to Nyquist. But yeah, this goal is pretty much all Gus Nyquist here, and he's in a position where he comes off the point, and he could have easily shot it, and it's kind of, I don't know if you want to call it a fake. Yeah, it's more of a head fake as opposed to faking it with your stick. But it's a beautiful pass to Scheifele. And what I was thinking is obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously, but you expect Cole Perfetti to be back on the first power play unit, but you wonder if the Jets try Nyquist in that position, because Nyquist has obviously been playing on the second power play unit. So you wonder if that's something, because, again, you're trying to maximize all of these guys' talents. And Nyquist is obviously a guy that you're not going to necessarily.
Well, I mean, it's not like Perfetti's doing anything on that first power play unit, so I'm fine with giving Nyquist an opportunity there. I mean, it's I don't think
I was talking more playing the point on the second unit, but yeah, sure, play him a little bit. Again, you're not in a position where you can't try things, or put a different way, you should be trying different things when you've got one of the worst record in the NHL over the last month and a half. I mean, this is the time to, if Nyquist is playing well on the second power play, the first power play unit, keep him there, right? Play Perfetti on the second power play unit. There's certain things that the Jets have to be more lenient about, I would say. Flexible. That's the better word, Drew. The Jets have to be more flexible in terms of what they're trying at this point in the season.
Well, because there's no reason to keep doing what you've been doing, because it sure as heck isn't working.
No, exactly. So yeah, it's a nice goal, like you said. 7 seconds into the power play, it gets the Jets within 1. But the problem is, the Jets didn't really have a lot of pressure after that. That's the big issue, and it goes back to what we've said time and time again. Yes, I forget I think it was the second period, Drew, and Kyle Connor had that wraparound chance.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was the second period. But after that, I mean, I can't remember that many good chances the Jets had. Yeah, there was a little bit of zone time, but for the most part, the Avalanche know what to do. We talked about it. They've got points in 32 of 34 games. If there's one team in the NHL that knows how to shut down a 1-goal lead, it's the Avalanche.
And they shut it down. They do. And the Jets can't get any closer than the 3-2 score. And that's where the game ends. 3-2, the Colorado Avalanche win, sending the Winnipeg Jets to yet another defeat as the Jets race towards the bottom. Unfortunately for fans of the team, seems to continue unabated. When we come back on the Illegal Curve post-game show, we'll read to you what Scott Arniel said post-game, and of course we'll tee up tomorrow morning's Illegal Curve hockey show. Along with Ezra Ginsburg, I am your host, Drew Mandel. This is the Illegal Curve post-game show presented by Play Now. Much more to come on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere.
I want to thank you for not betting with Play Now and choosing our illegal gambling site instead.
Because we couldn't afford things like this without your money.
So much of your money.
Now you might have questions like,
do our profits benefit your community?
No.
Or bet with Play Now, Manitoba's local legal and secure gambling site.
Dining, entertainment, parking, and convenience, all in one spot. City Place is located in the heart of downtown Winnipeg, attached to the Canada Life Centre. Whether you're working, living, or out for a night in the downtown, make City Place your go-to destination before or after the fun finds you. Lunchtime, game time, anytime. Visit City Place at 333 St. Mary Avenue, next to Canada Life Centre.
Boys, I've made an important life decision, and I need your support.
Oh, boy.
I've decided to get a grill.
You mean a barbecue grill for cooking? Like, that's not an important life decision, Ezzy.
No. A grill for my teeth.
A grill for your teeth? Do I even want to know why you're doing this?
It's simple, really. Every time I go to Holt Dental, I get treated so very well by Dr. John and his team that I need to keep finding additional reasons to go back. I rely on Holt Dental for all of my dental needs, and they do it all, from regular cleanings to cosmetic dentistry. Plus, they have free parking at their front door, and you know how much I love my convenient parking.
For all your dental needs, Illegal Curve recommends Holt Dental, conveniently located on Taylor Avenue near Grant Park Mall. For more information, visit them online at holtdental.ca.
Guys, big news. You know how I'm always misplacing my cool stuff? Well, Big Daddy has a new hobby, labeling.
Labeling is your new hobby.
You got it. Ever since I discovered Label Daddy's washable labels, I just can't stop labeling. I'm labeling water bottles, hockey sticks, cereal boxes, roast chickens, team jerseys. Everything deserves a label.
I can think of a label or two for you.
Best part is that Label Daddy is the only label company officially licensed by the NHL. So my labels are personalized and can have the Jets logo on them. Just search NHL on the Label Daddy website.
For almost 2 decades, Label Daddy has been helping people to not lose their stuff. It's the most affordable insurance policy around.
For customized, washable, peel and stick labels with no ironing or sewing required, visit labeldaddy.com and search NHL for the label pack belonging to your favorite team.
For over 40 years, Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club has been Winnipeg's home for stand-up comedy. Renowned in the comedy world as a must-play venue, Rumors has recently been named Canada's top comedy club and a top 5 comedy club in North America. From birthday parties to date nights to fundraisers, wedding socials, and everything in between, Rumors is your destination for the best live entertainment Winnipeg has to offer. For information on upcoming shows, Rumors' incredible promotions, and to purchase show tickets, visit rumorscomedyclub.com.
At Boston Pizza, a fast lunch doesn't have to mean fast food. Now you can get a $15 lunch served in just 20 minutes, including your choice of a main, side, and drink. That's right, lunch for $15 at your local Boston Pizza.
We are back on the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Ezra Ginsburg with you. Thanks, everybody, for spending your, Friday night with us as we talk about the Winnipeg Jets here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. Also want to talk about our friends at Wheatland Hockey. This was a big, chippy, physical game. There was a lot of, some little bit of an edge to it that we don't necessarily see in each and every game. One of the real nice plays that stood out to me was a clean body check, the clean old-fashioned hip check that Neil Pionk leveled in that third period. Not saying you're going to learn that at Wheatland Hockey, but it was definitely a bit of a heads-up hockey, like heads up, here comes Neil Pionk. Bit of a heads-up play by Neil Pionk, and you definitely will learn heads-up hockey, improve your hockey intelligence, improve your hockey skills with our friends at Wheatland Hockey. Wheatland Hockey offers development-focused, inclusive programs that build hockey skills while fostering confidence, leadership, and resilience. It makes players better both on and then more importantly off the ice. something for everybody. Check them out online, wheatlandhockey.ca. Big thanks to them for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Just in case there was any question if Cole Perfetti was sat down due to injury or or if it was due to a lack of performance, the Winnipeg Jets head coach Scott Arniel told our buddy Mike McIntyre that it was a coach's decision to sit Cole Perfetti during the third period, not injury related. Scott Arniel also went on to describe the Winnipeg Jets, his team, as a quote, delicate, fragile group right now. Definitely agree with that assessment, given the struggles of this team since November the 1st, the worst team in the NHL. Somebody who was in attendance in Colorado to watch the game tonight, Winnipeg Jets owner Mark Chipman. Our buddy Mike McIntyre also reporting that the Jets owner was there in Colorado, not always on the road trip, not in fact on the road trip a whole heck of a lot as of the last couple of years. But tonight he was in Denver. Not sure if he's doing some skiing. Maybe he's heading to Vail, going to go down the slopes or something. I can't speak to his plans, but it was interesting. He was in the arena tonight to watch the Jets drop yet another game, this time 3-2 to the Colorado Avalanche,
And I wanted to throw in something. This isn't about Mark Chipman being in Denver, but we didn't really touch on
Is
this.
It about skiing in Vail?
No, as you know, Drew, I have zero to add in terms of skiing or snowboarding. I'm more of a
you're gravity neutral. You don't want to you don't want to be propelling down a hill.
I'm a true prairie boy. Okay, we don't have any mountains here in Manitoba. I like to skate. I like to golf. I like to do things that happen on flat surfaces. Yeah. But what I wanted to bring up was the Tanner Pearson Josh Manson fight, and the reason why I wanted to bring that up there, because we had our buddy Joe from Winnipeg and a few others in the chat talking about it. Obviously, it didn't have a direct impact on this game, but I like that Tanner Pearson dropped his gloves, and I'll tell you why. Because it was Cole Perfetti who was hit by Josh Manson, and obviously Manson and Perfetti, there's a size mismatch there. Manson's a big Western Canadian defenseman, as we all know, son of former Jet Dave Manson. I like the fact that Tanner Pearson did that because he's a guy who obviously is not scoring goals. He's not known as being a fighter. I like that he did that because he's showing that he gives an F. That's what I like. That's what I liked about Tanner Pearson. And look, it wasn't this is not a fight you're going to see on Rock'em Sock'em Hockey. This was not a great fight. This wasn't like Ty Bauer and who was it? Yannick Turcotte.
I don't remember. I know the fight you're talking about.
It was Yannick.
Dave would know who it was.
Yeah, okay. that brought up memories of like Bob Probert and Ty Domi. I just wanted to throw that in there, that we were talking about the Wheatland heads up play of the game, and I just wanted to throw that in there, that I like the fact that, does Tanner Pearson need to fight there? No, of course he doesn't need to fight, but he sees Perfetti get. It was a pretty big hit that he took from Josh Manson. So I just wanted to say that I like the fact that Tanner Pearson dropped the gloves. He knew most likely that he was going to get pummeled by Manson, and he's showing that he cares, which I think is important on this Jets team, because let's be honest, the Jets have had some pretty lackluster efforts as of late.
No question about it. We'll talk about those lackluster efforts. We'll talk about the lack of wins in detail tomorrow morning on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, 9 a.m. Central Time. Ezzy and I will be there for 2 hours of Jets talk. We encourage all of you to be there as well. Kenny Weeb is going to be there, so you know that it's going to be an interesting conversation at the very least. So join us tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central, the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Plenty on the Winnipeg Jets. We'll look ahead to the Sunday evening between the Jets and the Utah Mammoth. Lots to talk about tomorrow on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. We look forward to that, and that's coming up in mere very few number of hours, I gotta say. So
less than 12 hours.
Yeah, less than 12. A lot less than 12, Ezzy. Less than 9.
About 9, yeah.
Like that. We'll get to that. So we'll bid adieu for tonight here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. We'll thank all of you for joining us. We'll thank all of our sponsors: Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Play Now, Holt Dental, City Place, Wheatland Hockey, Boston Pizza, Label Daddy, support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. If you haven't already done so, folks, be sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn your notifications on, because that way when we go live, say tomorrow morning on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, you'll get notified and you'll be sure to tune in as we go live to talk about the Winnipeg Jets, and then we'll do it again on Sunday after the Jets and the Mammoth as well. So we want you all to do that. We want you all to check out illegalcurve.com for continued coverage of the Winnipeg Jets, and we want you all to join Ezzy and I back here tomorrow morning. Mr. Ginsburg, thanks so much for joining me. We appreciate it. As always, it was a good post-game show, good contributions by you, good flow, good rapport between the two of us, like we've done this once or twice before in the past.
We had a nice little Friday night, that's for sure.
Friday night, exactly right. I look forward to doing it again with you tomorrow morning, my good friend. Until then, at 9 a.m. Central, we wish you good night and good luck. And thanks, everyone, for joining us. This has been the Illegal Curve post-game show.